Have you ever lain awake at night, staring at the ceiling, and thought, please, I don't want to end my days in a nursing home? Maybe you have seen it up close, a parent or friend in a place that smelled like disinfectant and overcooked vegetables, where the TV was always too loud and people in wheelchairs sat lined up in the hallway. Maybe the staff were kind but rushed, always hurrying to the next call light. Maybe you walked out to your car after a visit and said to yourself, half joking and half serious, if I ever end up in a place like that, just shoot me. Now you are older yourself. You move a little slower. Getting out of a chair takes more effort. Maybe you have fallen once or twice. Maybe driving at night is harder. Maybe you need help with a few things, but you still know who you are. You still enjoy your routines, your coffee, your radio, your favorite chair by the window. You like your independence. And in the back of your mind is a quiet terror. What if one more bad fall, one more health scare, and they say I have to go to a nursing home? Is that my only option? Here is the honest truth that many seniors are never told clearly. Nursing homes are not the only path when you need more help. For some people with very complex medical needs, they are the right place. But for many others, there is a wide world in between, completely on your own and traditional nursing home. A world of setups that protect your safety, give you the help you actually need, and still respect that you are an adult who enjoys making your own choices. The problem is that nobody sat us down in our 50 seconds and 60 seconds and explained those options in plain language. The system makes it easy to slide into a nursing home in a crisis. A fall, a hospital stay, a rushed discharge. The social worker found you a bed. It is much harder to hear about all the different living arrangements you could put in place before a crisis, especially if you want to keep your independence as long as possible. If you are over 60 or 70 and you like your freedom, you might already be asking yourself questions like, are there places where I can live around other seniors but still have my own front door and my own schedule without that institution feel? Is there a way to stay in my own home longer with some help instead of being moved somewhere I do not want to go? Could I share a home with someone else my age, like a Golden Girls setup, and avoid a facility altogether? What about moving in with family? Is that always a mistake? Or can it work if it is done carefully? I see. Those questions are not selfish. They do not mean you are in denial about aging. They simply mean you still care about how you live, not just how long. You know that being alive is not the same as feeling alive. You know that where you sleep, who is around you, and how much control you have over your day all matter for your dignity, mood, and health. This video is not here to bash nursing homes. There are good ones, with attentive staff and caring communities, and for some seniors with heavy medical needs, they truly are the safest and most realistic choice. But for many older adults who are still mentally sharp and value independence, it is important to know that there are at least 5 other living setups that might fit much better before you reach that level of care. We are going to talk about options where you can have your own space and privacy, but also know help is nearby. Options where services like meals, cleaning, or transportation are there if you want them, but you still decide when to wake up, what to watch, and when to come and go. Options where you can stay in the home you love longer by bringing help in instead of moving out. Options where you live with others by choice, as equals, instead of feeling like a patient. And yes, even living with family can be one of those options when it is done with clear boundaries and expectations, not as a last-minute emergency decision. Maybe you are watching this for yourself. Maybe you are an adult child trying to help a parent who says, "You're not putting me in a home." In either case, having a simple, calm picture of what the main alternatives look like can turn the conversation from a fight into a plan. Instead of, "Mom, you can't live like this, you need a nursing home," it becomes, "Here are a few living arrangements between totally alone and nursing home. Which ones feel worth exploring for you?" In this video, we will walk through 5 better nursing home alternatives for seniors who like independence. We will talk about what each one feels like day to day, who they tend to work best for, what kinds of help they provide, and what trade-offs they involve. We will also gently point out common mistakes people make when they try these options without thinking them through, like underestimating costs, assuming family will provide all the care for free, or ignoring the importance of compatibility when sharing a home. By the end, you will not have a perfect answer, but you will have a much clearer sense of the menu in front of you, from independent senior communities to assisted living that still respects your autonomy, to aging in place with extra support, to home sharing and co-living arrangements, to carefully planned family living. You will have language you can use in real conversations. I don't want a nursing home if I can avoid it, but I am willing to look at these other options, so I'm not a danger to myself. And stay with me until the very end, because alternative number 3 is one that many seniors dismiss as too modern or not for people like me. Yet for the right person, it can be a surprisingly affordable, flexible way to avoid a nursing home and still feel like you are living your own life, not just being taken care of. Understanding that one might open a door you did not know you had. Now, let us get started. Number 1. Independent senior living communities for people who still do almost everything on their own. Think of this as downsizing without giving up your freedom. In an independent senior community, usually for people 55 or 62 and older, you have your own apartment or cottage, your own front door, your own kitchen or kitchenette. You decide when to wake up, what to eat, when to come and go. No one is telling you when to go to bed or checking your every move. The difference from regular housing is what sits around you: neighbors who are mostly your age, common areas, activities, sometimes a dining room you can use when you do not feel like cooking, and staff who keep an eye on the building and grounds. For many seniors who like independence but are tired of shoveling snow, climbing ladders, or worrying about who to call when something breaks, this setup feels like a huge relief. You are not in a home. You are in your own place, but you are not isolated. There might be game nights, exercise classes, outings, a front desk where people notice if you have not been seen in a while. What it usually does not include is hands-on help with bathing, dressing, or taking medications, so it works best if you are still mostly independent, just wanting less responsibility for the house and more connection with people your age. Number 2. Assisted living for people who need some help, but not a hospital. Assisted living is often misunderstood. People think it is just another word for nursing home, but in most cases it feels very different. You usually have your own room or small apartment. You bring your furniture, your photos, your favorite chair. You can close your door. Staff are there to help with things like bathing, dressing, managing medicines, and meals. There might be a dining room that feels more like a restaurant than a cafeteria, social activities, transportation to appointments, and someone on call at night if you press a button or pull a cord. The trade-off is that you accept a bit more structure. Meals are, at certain times, there may be rules about smoking, pets, visitors, but you keep far more independence than in a typical nursing home. For many seniors, assisted living acts like a middle ground, not alone in a house that is now unsafe, but not in a medical ward either. It is especially helpful if you are starting to need help with a few daily tasks, or if your family is exhausted trying to cover everything themselves. If you are still listening, comment the number 2 below so we know you are here. And if these kinds of calm, practical conversations about aging matter to you, consider subscribing so we can keep creating respectful senior wisdom videos for you and your family. Now, let us move forward. Number 3. Aging in place at home with extra help and smart support. For many older adults, the words, "I just want to stay in my own home," come from the deepest part of the heart. The good news is that staying at home longer is often possible, but it usually does not happen by accident. It happens when you pair your determination with help and simple changes. That help can look like a home care aide who comes a few hours a week to assist with bathing, light housework, or meals. It can look like grab bars in the bathroom, better lighting, removal of trip hazards, and maybe a walker or cane chosen with a therapist. It can look like fall alert devices, medication reminders, or video calls with family who check in consistently. Aging in place works best when everyone is realistic. If you are falling often, forgetting to turn off the stove, or unable to get out in an emergency, independence can turn into quiet danger. But with the right mixture of people and simple technology, many seniors safely stay at home for years longer than they would have a generation ago. The key is to think of help as something that protects your independence, not something that takes it away. Each bit of help you accept now may prevent a crisis that would push you into a nursing home later. Number 4. Shared housing, or Golden Girls-style co-living with other seniors. This is the option many people smile at but do not fully consider. Shared housing simply means you do not live alone. You share a home with one or more adults, often roughly your age, as housemates rather than patients. You might each have a bedroom and bathroom and share a kitchen and living room. You split costs like rent, utilities, and sometimes food. In a good match, you also share companionship and keep an eye on each other. This can be powerful if you like independence but hate the feeling of being alone day and night. It can reduce costs and fear at the same time, but it does require care. Housemates need compatible habits, similar ideas about cleanliness, visitors, noise, and schedules. You need clear agreements about money and chores, so one person does not quietly become the unpaid caregiver or maid. When it is done thoughtfully, co-living can feel more like a small, chosen family than an institution, and it can delay the need for formal care. Number 5. Moving in with family. When it is planned, not panicked. Just move in with the kids can sound simple, but anyone who has tried it knows it can be intense. Done carelessly, it can lead to cramped spaces, burned-out caregivers, constant arguments, and quiet resentment on all sides. But done with planning and honesty, it can be one of the best nursing home alternatives for seniors who like independence and want to stay rooted in family life. The key is to treat it like a serious arrangement, not just an emotional rescue. That means talking ahead of time about where you will sleep, how much privacy you will have, how bills will be handled, what help you truly need, and what you can still do for yourself. What the backup plan is if your needs grow beyond what the household can provide. It means respecting your adult child's role as head of their own household, while they respect your dignity as an adult, not a child. It can help to write things down, even informally, so that everyone understands what they are agreeing to. When it works, living with family can give you a blend of independence and connection that no facility can match. Hearing children's footsteps, sharing meals, having someone nearby if you fall ill. But its success depends less on love alone and more on clear expectations and boundaries. Love is the reason you try it. Clarity is the reason it lasts. When you put these 5 together, independent senior living, assisted living, aging in place with support, shared housing, and carefully planned family living, you can see that nursing home or nothing is a false choice. There is a whole landscape of options for seniors who like independence. The real work is not to pretend you will never need help, but to start thinking now about which of these paths feels most like you, so you are choosing your future instead of having it chosen for you in a rush. Final thoughts. We have just walked through 5 better nursing home alternatives for seniors who still value their independence. Independent senior communities, assisted living, aging in place at home with extra help, shared Golden Girls-style housing, and carefully planned living with family. Each one has its own feel, its own trade-offs, its own strengths. None of them are perfect. But together, they prove something important. Your future is not simply a choice between struggling alone and being sent to a nursing home. There is a wide middle ground. If you felt a little tightness in your chest listening to all of this, that is normal. These are big questions. Where will I live if my legs get weaker? Who will help me if I fall? What happens if I cannot safely drive, cook, or bathe by myself? These thoughts are easy to push away with jokes. Just put me in a cardboard box. Or I'll never go to a home. But underneath the humor, there is often fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of becoming a burden. Here is the gentle truth. Pretending you will never need help does not keep you independent. Planning for help is what protects your independence. Every one of the 5 options we talked about only really works when it is thought about early, before a crisis. Independent senior living feels best when you choose it while you are still strong enough to enjoy the social life and amenities. Assisted living is easiest to adjust to when you move while you are still able to participate, not after 3 emergencies in a row. Aging in place is safest when grab bars, home modifications, and home care are set up early, instead of after a major fall. Shared housing goes well when you carefully choose who you live with, not when you move in with the first person who offers. Living with family works best when it is planned with clear expectations, not rushed after a hospital discharge. So instead of asking, "How do I avoid ever needing more help?" a better question is, "If I do need more help someday, which of these paths fits who I am?" Are you someone who likes community, activities, neighbors in the same building? An independent senior community might feel natural. Do you want to keep your own door but know there is help if you get sick or unsteady? Assisted living could be a good middle ground. Is your home your haven, and you are willing to accept aids, devices, and small changes if it means staying there longer? Aging in place might be your focus. Do you light up at the idea of shared meals, shared bills, and shared jokes with others your age? Shared housing might be worth exploring. Do you and your adult children already have a close, respectful relationship and a desire to live together with clear boundaries? Then well-planned family living could be a beautiful option. You do not have to pick one today, but you can start a conversation. Maybe that means grabbing a notebook and writing down, in your own words, "Here is what I most want to avoid. Here is what I most want to keep." Here are 1 or 2 options I am open to learning more about. Maybe it means calling a local senior center, area agency on aging, or church group and asking if they know of independent communities, home share programs, or trustworthy home care agencies. Maybe it means sitting with your adult children and saying, "I do not want decisions made for me in a rush. Let us talk now about what I am willing to consider." Remember, you are not being difficult when you say, "I care about how I live," not just where. You are honoring the fact that you have spent decades building a life, routines, preferences, and values. Wanting to protect those as long as possible is not selfish. It is human. The key is to balance that desire with safety so that your independence does not quietly turn into isolation or danger. Ask yourself, gently, if my health changed in the next year, which of these 5 alternatives would I be most willing to try first? You do not have to lock it in like a contract. Just choosing a front runner in your mind can take some of the fear away. You can begin gathering information, maybe visiting a senior community, talking to a home care agency, exploring shared housing options, or discussing a potential suite or addition at a family member's home. Information turns vague dread into real, manageable choices. In the comments below, if you feel comfortable, share which of these 5 options feels most like you right now: independent senior living, assisted living, aging in place with help, shared housing, or living with family, and why. Your thoughts might help another senior or an adult child watching this realize they are not alone in what they want and what they fear. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or family member who shudders whenever they hear the words nursing home and thinks that is their only future. Your support helps us keep creating calm, practical senior wisdom so older adults can face these big decisions with more clarity and less panic. Thank you for watching. You may not be able to choose every detail of the years ahead, but you can have a voice in where and how you live them. Planning for support does not erase your independence. It is one of the strongest ways to protect it.